Next, we have Elizabeth.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name's Elizabeth. I'm a fourth year medical student at the University of Alabama at Birmingham who's applying psychiatry this cycle. And today I'm going to be talking about a project that involves our foster care clinic at the University Medical Center, where we assess, like, through a quality improvement project, just the mental health needs and the complex medical needs of these patients. So, for some background, foster care children are more complex than our average pediatric population. Around 50 to 80% of this population has some sort of mental health disorder. Common mental health disorders in this population really include ADHD being the highest incidence, with PTSD for obvious reasons, anxiety, mood disorders, fetal alcohol syndrome, as well as just cognitive delays. These mental health disorders are linked to problems down the road. So poor functioning, incarceration, substance use, and early parenting. This is why we need multidisciplinary teams to kind of work with these population groups who really know what they're doing. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends a pretty thorough assessment and treatment process. So they recommend an initial health screening typically occurs between an hour and 2 hours with these patients, comprehensive health assessments, a pretty deep dive into mental health evaluations, and just providing stable primary care with this population, just because they're not getting it in kind of other areas of their lives. So background on the foster care clinic. So this foster care clinic is located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, as part of the University Medical Center. It was started by Dr. Brian Gannon, who had around 9 foster children himself and realized this is a pretty big area that needs help and it's really not being kind of taken care of by just the established pediatric clinic they had. And their kind of goal and mission was to improve, but also advocate for the complex needs of these patients. So the appointments usually occur within 1 week that from when the children are referred from the foster care system, and then that's when we do the kind of comprehensive initial visit, which is getting histories, placement, specialty needs, as well as a trauma-informed, care model where we're doing trauma assessments as well. And then the services include the basic primary care from a pediatric standpoint, but also DHR coordination, whether that's with like the paperwork for those foster care parents and supporting, background checks, getting those foster care parents, established in the system as well. So the objective of this project was to really recognize it's just Dr. Gannon and some medical students, definitely not experts in the field, medical students that being not Dr. Gannon, but just we really didn't have that many resources, no social worker kind of in place. So we really wanted to see how complex these patients were, the foster care children, kind of assessing their medical and mental health complexity, as well as what services that those children did need. So identifying those areas just for improving, case management and the social work areas. And then our hypothesis was just that these patients obviously have greater needs and need more structure than the general UMC population, pediatric population. So the methods, we did a retrospective cohort study. So at the clinic, services around 338 patients. So there's a little bit more, but just from restrictions on adequate documenting. But we looked at 338. We looked at the mental health diagnoses of these patients, their immunization status, specialty referrals out, as well as getting communication back from those specialists, as well as how many needed therapy services. We did a statistical analysis of the data we collected, and then kind of going forward doing a survey development. So asking these foster care parents, what services do your children need, whether it be counseling, professional help, the current mental health status of that patient, whether they're established or new, scheduling mental health appointments as well, and if they use any psychiatric medications. So kind of the statistical analysis from the retrospective study, first just looking at how many of these foster care patients had mental health diagnoses, which was quite a bit. So over half of all patients, around 52%, had at least one documented mental health disorder. And then 21% had about two or more diagnoses. So just showing that high degree of comorbidity that occurs in the foster care population. Now we're going to go into the specific types of mental health diagnoses that they had. So the one being the most prevalent, which goes along with just established literature, being ADHD in the foster care population, but significant other disorders as well. So speech and language disorder, developmental delay, behavioral concern, and then ranging all the way from something maybe not as complex that a primary care doctor could take care of ADHD to something a little bit more difficult. So like psychosis, autism spectrum disorder, intellectual disability, things like that. So pretty wide range. Now going for immunizations, it was really difficult because these patients come at all different times. So we had patients ranging from a newborn, just to around 17, 18 years old. The clinic takes care of patients up until 19 years old, actually. So a lot of them were missing some, if not all, of their immunizations. The most popular being the Tdap or DTaP, depending on their age. As well as almost close 45% had at least one missing vaccination, which was unfortunate. And then we looked at specialty referrals as well. So around this was a pretty complex population. So they once they kind of arrived, we realized, oh, they need some sort of escalation of care. And this escalation of care was also pretty wide. So it ranged from like ophthalmology, neurology to orthopedic surgery. Um, but a lot of these patients did need some sort of escalation of care. So that was around 55%. And then as you could see, we referred out a lot, but didn't quite hear back the same percent. So 32%. And we kind of determined that it's probably from a lack of coordination of care. So having no social worker, no case management on hand that could kind of follow up with these specialists. And then therapy referrals was around 8%. So around 8% were at least referred to therapy or services, but we were unsure of how many actually attended those therapy services. Again, this just highlights the pretty significant burden that kind of carries with this population. So implications, just the high mental complexity, the need for better care coordination, and this just supports the case for a multidisciplinary care team. These findings were really supposed to be important for this clinic to really apply for grant money and to get a social worker or a case manager that could help supplement the care for the pediatrician. Future directions would be doing those surveys that I talked about, really getting the input from those parents. Parents know better than anyone the needs of their children, so just what they think that that child needs, whether it's counseling services or really that current mental health status, if they're already an existing patient, as well as what barriers that they have dealt with along the process getting their foster child, medical or psychiatric services. And then use those, survey results to identify those barriers and then supplement where needed. And then just continuing to advocate for more integrated behavioral health model that the Pediatric Association recommends. And then this is just the survey that we plan to implement. So we just finished our statistical analysis and plan to bring it to them and hopefully get these surveys up and running probably early next year. Thank you. And then any questions?
Thank you for that presentation. Certainly dealing with foster children is a big, complicated process. And I was wondering, I know that foster parents get a significant amount of training. Do you have any suggestions on how we can better help our school teachers and the educational system as far as being sensitive to the needs of these foster children?
Oh yeah, because it's such a complex population, I feel that there is kind of that lack of knowledge for school teachers, and certainly school teachers are already so stretched with the amount of kind of burden that they have to deal with, whether it is like the mental health concerns of the children, especially when it comes to like ADHD, autism, things like that. Probably training sessions, or I know a lot of schools have counselors that they, once a foster child is placed in that system in Alabama, they have like a required amount that they have to meet with a counselor. So maybe not putting that burden maybe on the teachers, but more that those counselors are kind of that interstep between those two. Yeah.
Based on the survey that you're giving to foster parents, are you going to try to say, hey, if the parents say they didn't fit this need, are you then going to try to fill that need?
Yeah.
And do the parents know that before they're filling out the survey?
Yeah, the parents do know that this is part of a research study that we would be using these results to kind of do an analysis to see what kind of gaps of care there are. And then, yeah, it's really would be going to, whatever grant money that we need if there's a lack of therapy services to kind of see what kind of resources we could gather, then we could suggest to those parents as well. But it probably would be similar to just to need that a social worker or some sort of case management that could kind of supplement with that as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please support our mission to improve quality of patient care through education. Join us, follow us, and share this content with family and friends.